ACC Rookie of the Week 9 times. Duke has the longest win streak in the country. They're a heavy favorite, but you never know when two of the best programs in college basketball history get together. Duke controls the tip, and Duke gets the first basket right out of the chute 9 seconds in. An easy layup for Con Knippel, also one of the best freshmen in the country.
Duke has 3 potential lottery picks between Con Knippel, Malawat, and also Cooper Flagg. But look, when you're playing a game of this magnitude, your best player needs to have an elite performance, and for Syracuse, that is J.J. Starling.
Their leading scorer at 18 per game. Here's the starting 5 for Duke. You mentioned those 3 freshmen. They're joined by the terrific transfer Sion James, huge impact point guard, and Tyrese Proctor. Knippel for 3. Eddie Lampkin clears the rebound for Syracuse, led by Starling, the junior from local Baldwinsville. Lucas Taylor and Elijah Moore, the guards. Jair Davis and Eddie Lampkin Jr., who's been a rebounding machine and will have to control the glass against the tallest team in Division I. Lampkin will take it against the 7-2 Malawat with 8 to shoot. Rolling inside from Taylor. Starling 3. End of the shot clock, rims out to Tyrese Proctor.
And those are the quality shots that Coach Autry was talking about.
Cooper Flagg will drive it. Freshman out of Newport, Maine. Sets a screen for Proctor. A step inside Starling, and he was fouled. J.J. Starling, the first foul of this game. The player Syracuse can probably least afford to get into foul trouble.
Tyrese Proctor with 17 points in that game against North Carolina. But look at the stutter step right here. That little change of speed is just enough that Lampkin has to get back to Cooper Flagg. You got to make a decision. Either you got to hedge and allow your guard to get back to actually protect the basket, or you have to go blitz to get the ball out of his hands. Being in no man's land is where Lampkin was on that last possession.
So free throws for the junior Proctor. 10.7 point per game score.
Well, Kevin, you talked in the open about the game after the game. It's human nature to get the rise for a game against North Carolina, to then come in your next game and be a little bit flat. That's something that John Shire has talked about. Every game is going to have this type of magnitude. There's a chance early for Syracuse to capitalize on that and get a lead.
2 missed free throws from the 78% shooter Proctor. On the vociferous student section, already gets a free Chick-fil-A sandwich.
Got him on the post.
6 to shoot for Starling. Lampkin a long way away from the basket. Going to have to make a play at the end of the shot clock. Switched on the flag, and Lampkin has no clue the shot clock's about to expire. It is year 3 for John Shire. Largest home win for Duke against Carolina since 2010. And 17 points doesn't even begin to describe it if you didn't watch the game. Duke was up 40-13 in the first half. They controlled the game. The final score was really just window dressing. Flagg had it knocked away by Jair Davis. The senior out of Delaware starts on Flagg. Proctor a deep one. And too strong as Davis elevates over the top of Knippel.
Gotta love the defense by Syracuse. They're in gaps. They're playing slightly off. You want Duke to be complacent, shooting and settling for threes.
It's an Orange team that is not a very good shooting team and has turned it over a lot in conference play. They must avoid those tonight. Into Lampkin again. He's got the switch on the much smaller James. Lampkin got a shot off but couldn't finish.
Great rotation by Duke. He got him wide open down low from Malawat.
Hey! And Malawat stuffs it on the feed from James.
Look, Lampkin needs to sprint back defensively. Malawat is one of the guys on this floor. Everybody talks about Cooper Flagg and Con Knippel, but I actually think Malawat might have the highest ceiling out of anybody on the court.
He's only been playing basketball for a few years. 7'2", 250 freshman from South Sudan. Moore, that's a very difficult one. Off the hands of Flagg into the hands of James. John Shire says go, go, go. Lethal transition team. Malawat was covered up. It's Proctor into the teeth of Taylor. Very difficult shot forced by Lucas Taylor.
Well, even better defense by Taylor just to stay upright and hold his ground defensively. What you're going to see is Malawacz is going to run the floor. When he's sprinting the floor, if Lampkin isn't down there, James finally picks his head up and recognizes he has an easy pass to Malawacz for a slam.
Blue Devils 2 for 5 start. Syracuse 1 for 4 with a turnover against third best defense in the country statistically. Starling, a right-handed shot from the left side of the lane, is knocked away.
I think one of the opportunities for Syracuse is slowing down a little bit off that high PNR. Get the screen and then the re-screen, since Duke is switching everything on the perimeter. Have the big roll into the defensive player. JJ should get a shot open each and every possession if he can make the right read.
Got some scattered boos from the crowd for the homecoming, and Malik Brown on the ball right there. Spent the last 2 years, the first 2 of his career at Syracuse. Transferred to Duke this offseason and is immediately involved in a near takeaway with Flagg. He returned to the lineup Saturday. John Shire told us he had 8 of Duke's season-high 22 deflections.
Well, they're trying to get him to score the ball more offensively, but he is the Secretary of Defense. He is everywhere. He's active. He has a high basketball IQ. And John talked about this before. Just has a great feel for the game.
Again, deep into the shot clock for Syracuse. Starling gets to his right hand and finishes. He's got the first 4.
Evans has to know in scouting report, Starling is a hard right driver. If anything, you want him to drive to his left hand.
Might be a little more Isaiah Evans today. Mason Gillis did not make the trip. He is out with an illness for Duke. Knipple leans into Taylor, and he'll draw free throws. A 4-4 start for Duke, which has been
in defense, and they hold their opponents to 60 points or less per game. And they play positionless basketball. They switch positions 1 through 5. It's probably the most connected team I've seen Duke have in a very long time.
You said early in the year that this was the most talented Duke roster you thought maybe since your 2001 title team. Has anything dissuaded you of that notion, watching these guys now?
And I was coming off a loss against Kentucky. A lot of Kentucky fans came after me after that game, and I've held firm with that. Just because Knipple and Flagg and Malawacz play older, but they're fearless, and they don't know what they don't know. That's why you have guys like James. That's why you have guys like Gillis and Brown that come in and add that veteran experience. I mean, Gillis is not here, but I talk about a guy who played a national championship game. And then Tyrese Proctor and Foster are 2 guys that understand the continuity of the system and how they play. All the pieces fit for this team. Now, whether that translates to them winning a championship, we will see.
6-4 lead off the free throws by Knipple. A rainbow 3 by Lucas Taylor, grabbed by Knipple. Duke has done well on the defensive glass so far. Knipple.
If they're going to play in drop coverage, they're going to try to lure Duke into a lot of threes. You got to be careful with a guy like Knipple. You're talking about one of the best 3-point shooters in the league. Leads Duke in made threes and 5th in the ACC.
38%. He misses his second there. And then
So
Brown takes it away and throws it off Lampkin. And Syracuse fans are all too familiar with that sort of play.
Well, if Lampkin's going to seal him, he has to hold him off. Brown does a great job of just fighting over the top. We're not going to see it, but Lampkin has the size. Just got to seal him. You got to hold him.
Malik Brown, all defensive team in the league with Syracuse a year ago. Flagg, such a tremendous distributor. Knipple, well balanced in the lane.
Just using that 220-pound frame against Taylor. Call that bully basketball, dipping that shoulder. Nothing Taylor could do.
And a game high 22 in the win over the Tar Heels Saturday. Brown knocks it away from Lampkin again. And Lampkin slaps it away from Brown, who waits for Flagg to get the ball, and then it's poked away. Duke scrambles back so well defensively in transition, and the Arts cannot get an easy shot. Starling to pull up, line drive in at 3, and he's got all 7. Well, 6 for 18 shooting in the win over Cal last game. J.J. Starling has begun 3 for 5.
Cooper Flagg has not gotten a shot off in this game as of yet. First one.
And he rattles it home. Right on cue, Flagg, who has dramatically improved his 3-point shot over the course of the year.
Well, if you're Davis and if you're in gaps, you got to shorten that length. You can't be that far over. One of the hottest 3-point shooters on this Duke team. You can't leave Cooper Flagg for a wide open chip.
12th straight game with a made three. Flag. Moore gets a look, and then Evans with a late denial. And then Brown tips it ahead. Starling will let it float out of bounds.
You talk about Malik Brown just playing passing lanes. Great job getting out there, but you love the hustle by Lampkin getting back into it. And this is where Syracuse has a chance, driving into those gaps. J.J. Starling relocating to the free throw line extended, knocking down the three. And then, once again, I said before, you can't be that far over in the gap if you're Davis. You got to stay a little bit more connected to Cooper Flagg, roaming on the perimeter and changing up defensively, too, playing zone in that game, man-to-man, going back and forth.
Well, they're going to have to get it all the way down the court here. Starling hustling down. Starling off the front of the rim. Pressure by Duke made it difficult. We've got Brown and Gungba together right now. John Shire told us we might see more Malik Brown at the 4. And Brown steps out and misses a 3. A foul against Gungba. Well, following our game here on ESPN2, it's another significant game in the SEC. 2 bubble teams. Arkansas coming off maybe the win of the year in college basketball. John Calipari going back to Rupp, getting a win. Now they go on the road to get Trey Johnson and Texas. Really good game at the Moody Center in Austin. We saw Trey Johnson earlier this year. Special score.
Super special score. Did you get a chance to watch that Arkansas-Kentucky game?
I did.
I mean, what an incredible sight. Duthiel with a big-time performance. DJ Wagner coming back home to Kentucky and putting on an absolute show, getting a win on the road.
There was a lot made of Coach Cal's return. It was the former Kentucky players who really led the way. Trying to get Arkansas back in the tournament mix. Evans rattles around the 3. There are some of the big numbers we're talking about. Big Z, Vladimir Vicevic as well, had 14 as Arkansas shocked Kentucky.
It's like every night in the SEC, it is an absolute battle.
The ultimate meat grinder might get 13 teams in the tournament. We'll see. It's going to be double digits either way. Syracuse still has no points from anybody but Starling, who is dispossessed on the way up, and the Orange will have it with 5 to shoot. It's Duke 11, it's J.J. Starling.
And actually raising that capital to bring in top-tier players. And when you think about who's coming in next year, and Cayenne Anthony, the son of Carmelo Anthony, Sadiq White, another special, phenomenal player, along back with Donnie Freeman, this team is well on their way.
They've got a great look out of the timeout. Chris Bell misses his first shot attempt. Naheem McLeod's on the floor for the first time, as is Petar Majstorovic and Jaquan Carlos, who's Starling, the only starter in there. And here's his 2-3 zone.
Yeah.
Brown into McLeod. Flag back on the floor for Duke.
That's where the play is every time. You got to look opposite. You catch the ball in the middle. Great job by Gungba to turn, face, look opposite, kick it right to Evans for a knockdown 3.
Well, that's Duke's best 3-point shooter, Isaiah Evans, another freshman, 45%. So Duke doubling up Syracuse right now. Still, J.J. Starling, the only Orange player to score.
When you think about Isaiah Evans, 74 of the 86 shots he's attempted are threes. You know, I think the next step for his game as he continues to gain more experience is not being as one-dimensional, but he is a dead-eye shooter. Gungba, you talk about having the poise, catches the ball, takes a second to probe, turn, face, looks weak side. Evans with his hand ready, knock down the 3.
It's an amazing note on this Duke team. They're assisting 61% of their made baskets. That's the highest assist rate for Duke since the Dick Groat team of 1951-52. McLeod, very little used this year, but he's played the last couple of games, and the big man scores. By the way, your 2001 title team is not far off at 58%. That's the kind of company this Duke team is in terms of sharing the ball. They'll share it again. Evans with a shot fake. Back for Proctor, a 3. It's good. Evans hit the last 3 and sets up Proctor for the next one.
Yeah, great job by Evans to get to that short corner. Force the defense to collapse. Proctor once again rotating over, knocking down the shot. Duke makes 10 made threes per game.
4 assists, 6 makes for Duke this evening. Starling guarded by the much taller freshman Flagg. Starling rejected by Flagg on a 3-point try.
By the way, I'm waiting for one Syracuse player to utilize a head fake and crack into the player, because every Duke player has left their feet for every shot.
James for three. It's good. A timeout needed by Adrian Autry as Duke hits 3 consecutive. 1.2 blocks a game, 1.5 steals a game. By the way, in all of those categories, he's in the top 9 in the ACC.
Will be the 4th freshman to ever win National Player of the Year. Zion, Anthony Davis, and Kevin Durant have been the recipients of that award. And I think as of right now, I think he is ahead of Janai Broome.
Is it a 2-person race?
Yes. It's between Cam Jones, he's in that too, but I think it's between those two respectively.
Bell puts it on the deck and rattles home a 3. A needed answer for Chris Bell.
His play's been so much better since he's came off the bench. Just doesn't seem to be forcing it, knocking down shots better from the perimeter, really extending that defense offensively.
Evans around Starling into McLeod, spiked off the glass. Once again, so few opportunities to run against a Duke defense that leads 3rd in the country in defensive efficiency, behind only Tennessee and Houston.
Just look how far out Syracuse is running their offense. Good pass.
McLeod catches and finishes. 2 baskets for Naheem McLeod. And John Shire will take a timeout.
In games prior to a season-ending foot surgery, 2 points against Cal, but coming off 4 straight DNPs. Getting him in the rotation with Lampkin, I think, is going to be really big against the size and the length of how Duke likes to play.
Adrian Autry said after the Cal game, Naheem had been working really hard for the last couple of weeks. Felt like it was the right time to give him a shot. There's flag against Majstorovic. Freshman over freshman. Rebound Starling.
Syracuse is showing Cooper Flag multiple bodies every time he turns and faces, seeing 3 or 4 white jerseys.
Starling hits another screen from McLeod. Easy for James to fight through it. Great closeout by Knipple. Bell puts it on the deck. Chris Bell, very short. And it's knocked away off of Majstorovic. And it'll be Duke ball with under 8 to play. That's our under 8 timeout.
Opportunities as of right now. So some of these potential out of non-conference games will come in very heavily down the stretch.
Out of the 4 we saw there, Wake, SMU, Pitt, UNC, who has the best shot, you think, to make a push?
I think Pitt, probably. Just because of their guard play, the way they can line up. I know they're going in and out, but I would probably say they have the most talent. Wake is there too.
Wake gave Duke a good fight week and a half ago, ultimately fell at home. Proctor for 3.
But we talked about if you keep going under those screens. I know Syracuse typically sits in deep drop coverage, but if you're Tyrese Proctor, Con Knipple, Cooper Flag, you have the green light to shoot every time you see that opposing guard go under.
Duke has hit 5 of its last 7 from deep. Very good 3-point shooting team, and they take a lot. Davis fading and scoring over Knipple.
Really like the poise right there by Jair Davis.
Cooper Flag just 3 points so far for Duke. They've done it with balance. He's only taken 2 shots. Got a screen, Carlos here. Knipple.
Great job by Carlos fighting over the top of that screen.
And now Carlos going to have to fight against Flag, and Carlos strips it away. The undersized point guard kicks it to Starling, whose 3 is short. Carlos picks up Flag again in the half court. James drives it over McLeod and finishes.
I really think Sion James has a chance to be a pro. Talking to a couple of scouts earlier today, it's obvious he needs to improve his shooting, but he has a great feel for the game, high basketball IQ, and he's great at making reads. Now, this team has no traditional point guard, but they have a lot of playmakers.
And there's one of them, Knipple, who is fouled in the act of shooting a 3. Jair Davis picks up Syracuse's 3rd foul.
Sion James right here, just off the drive, you know, and that's when Duke can go small. If Syracuse switches, McLeod doesn't have the size or lateral quickness to stay with James. He can drive him straight from the perimeter. But also, if you're McLeod, you have to recognize that James isn't a great 3-point shooter. You can play off of him, and you can contest late with that 7'6" wingspan.
The first of 3 for Knipple, 87% free throw shooter. Look at the last 5 games, and that's including a goose egg at BC. 25 at Miami, hit 6 threes. 22, 5 assists and 2 steals against Carolina. What impresses you most about Con Knipple's game?
He never forces it. I think there's very much a workman-like approach to the game for him. Every drill you see him work out in, he goes the same speed, which is hard, but he has a good change of pace. I like his size. I like his frame and the way he utilizes that frame to attack the rim. I think he's a complete player.
Now Cuff off the bench for the first time for Syracuse. Doesn't the lead for Duke. Orange just 7 for 20 from the field. Even hard shots. Carlos. Cuff just off the bench. Gets it up to the rim. And the putback there by Davis, who sealed Knipple and got fouled.
Davis at 220 actually has the frame to carve people out for offensive rebounds. Con Knipple got caught standing up right there, starting at the fly of the ball and not boxing out Davis. Great job by Davis to recognize that. And just sometimes Duke tries to rely upon his athleticism to get those rebounds, but he was carving out space left and right.
Davis can't convert from three-point play. Syracuse has been great on the glass. Every offensive rebound in the game, and they're +6 overall. Proctor from Flag. Shot ready. Brown swats it out. Flag is ready for 3, and that's short. And Knipple thought he knocked it off of Davis, and it's Syracuse ball. This Thursday, that's tomorrow night. Great primetime women's basketball doubleheader. Love this non-conference game. It's always fun when UConn and Tennessee renew their rivalry. Paige Beckers and the number 5 Huskies into Knoxville at 6:30. And then Hannah Hidalgo, one of the top scorers in the nation. And number 3 Notre Dame, a title contender, hosting Stanford, 8:30 Eastern on ESPN. Those games both on the ESPN app.
You know, KB, the one thing that's so hard about Duke is the pressure is persistent and is sustained throughout 40 minutes of play. Think about Cooper Flag right now, his 3 points, not having a great game. Syracuse limiting his touches, but Syracuse also down by 10.
Carlos. Boy, the degree of difficulty on every one of these shots is so high. Caleb Foster just off the bench. Offensive rebound for Brown. Duke finally with an offensive rebound. The last couple of possessions. And then Knipple is fouled.
And Duke is going to need Foster to get going. He's had 3 straight games of goose eggs. Was held scoreless against North Carolina. I know that shot has been struggling, but we talk about a guy who started last year, 11 points off the bench against Auburn. But he's a guy you need to keep engaged in offense because he's another playmaker, and he does have the ability to make critical shots. Made a ton last year, and I think as Duke gets later into the season, they're going to have to find ways to get Caleb Foster going.
Foster no good for 3. Out of bounds is Knipple undercut.
Hey, you can take my legs out like that?
The rebounder, Lucas Taylor. So one of the
I don't
things.
really know where the foul was there.
Was there a foul? I thought it was just out of bounds.
Just ball out of bounds, okay.
One of the things that we get to see up close and hear is how well Duke communicates. And you're just at home, just watch the way they switch, watch the way they fight defensively.
Well, Malawat at the back corner of the defense is communicating at the top of the key on every pick and roll, and every other Duke player is echoing commands.
There's a foul there, but before that, it was 20 seconds of brilliant defense by Duke, which is dominating that side.
Always down in the stance. I think this is the most disciplined defensive Duke team they've had in a long time.
And such a young team, too. John Shire has drilled this team very well. They've, by the way, only committed 4 fouls, and Syracuse has shot just 1 free throw with all this hard guarding. Cup gets space around the big man Malawat. And that foul will go against Duke. Eddie Lampkin in position. So there's the 5th Duke foul of the half. You talked recently about Duke practicing championship habits. Is that what you mean, communication defensively?
Well, especially if you're applying pressure on the ball. You know, and I think a lot of times when guards are applying pressure on the ball, it's the big's responsibility to communicate to that guard where those screens are coming from or what the reads are defensively, things that are about to happen. So it's that trust that is developed between your bigs and your guards with the pressure as well.
That was the second on Knipple. He'll stay out there. Starling trying to get around his old teammate Brown. Cuff. Malowacz goes straight up in the air, and Brown snatches it away.
And that's the hard part. You get a drive towards the baseline. Malowacz is already in help position with his arms up with that 7'5" wingspan. To block out the sun.
A team that starts 3 true freshmen. Third best defensive team in the country.
You see, last year, Foster would have shot that. He wouldn't have thought about it.
Proctor rolls it into Brown, batted away with a 1.7 to shoot.
Well, you like what Syracuse is doing. They're really digging in defensively. They're getting points on the offensive glass. They have to limit their turnovers. Duke with 8 points off those 5 turnovers. And that's the reason why they're staying in this game. They're getting the 50-50 balls, and they're defensively rebounding.
Flag replaces Knipple. Proctor. And Lampkin's going to be called for a foul there against Malowacz. First on Eddie Lampkin, 5th on Syracuse.
Long threes equal long rebounds. Got to be ready to chase those things down. We talked about Duke's ability to get in the offensive glass. Those are the type of possessions that you have to get.
James back on the floor. Flag.
That's where he's going to get a shot. He's going to get a shot on any pick and roll with Malowacz because Lampkin is in such deep drop coverage. He's going to get a mid-range shot each and every possession if he wants.
5 for Flag. It's Duke by a dozen. Syracuse has not scored in about 3 minutes.
A great job by Cooper coming from the weak side there to stop Lampkin on the slip.
Flag switched on to Cuff. The Kansas transfer lost the handle. James with a steal. James down the floor. Got Starling in the air. Couldn't finish. Syracuse does not have a fast break point in the game. Once again, Duke back defensively. Taylor.
Just listen to the communication on the court. Wow.
Found Lampkin.
When we talked about Lampkin sealing, Malowacz trying to be aggressive. He kept him on the high side, sealed him off. And nobody should be able to get around Lampkin's seal with that size and frame he has.
1,001 career points for Lampkin. Congratulations to him. Malowacz. Thunderous finish.
If you're Cooper Flag, that's going to be your bread and butter. Any kind of middle of the court pick and roll with Lampkin. Even if he shows Flag is good enough to get to the rim off the dribble.
Back-to-back possessions, they've gotten a point, a basket from Flag. Malowacz pick and roll. And there's a 3 for Lucas Taylor. Much needed for the senior from Raleigh. Coming off a season-high 19 against Cal on Saturday. Flag, another mid-range jumper, and a late whistle. Adrian Autry incensed. Flag will shoot 2.
There's that pick and roll, middle of the court. Lampkin in that drop coverage. You know, Davis is up on the high side. He's going to get that pick and roll each and every time. And then offensively for Syracuse, Starling. I love this on the screen. Cooper tries to jump on the screen. He rejects it. Kicks the ball to the corner, forces the defense to help on the help side, knocks down a shot. You got to get creative with that high PNR if you're Starling.
Foul was Lampkin's second.
We was talking about that, you know, sometimes if you're stalling, if you're at the top of the key, since they're switching or if they want to jump it, sometimes you can catch Cooper Flag's head leaning in one direction or looking at the screen. And when he does that, that allows you to reject the screen. And Starling has to be able to make those reads with his eyes. And that takes a certain level of awareness each and every possession.
2 more free throws for Flag at the other end. You saw the note there. Since the 11th, 60 attempted free throws. The rest of his team combined 77. And he's shooting 80%. Under a minute to play in a first half that has been controlled by Duke, which has not trailed. Lampkin still out there with the 2 fouls. Taylor, little flip shot, poked around to Brown. Proctor. Flag says settle down now. 6 seconds between game and shot clock.
Good recognition by the freshman. Pull it out. Utilize as much of the shot clock as possible.
Both teams have used their first half timeout. Proctor. Malowaj screens for a Proctor 3.
Like I said, Lampkin is in drop coverage. You're going to get a wide open shot.
And it's knocked away from Starling at the end of the half. Brown heaves it. And Brown back rims it. Hours from Canada to see Cooper Flag.
Well, I didn't see or have not seen any signs that say Kevin Brown.
You are not looking closely enough.
I did see one sign that says Stephen A. Smith for president.
Now you are looking closely enough for that one. I won't be on the ballot yet, but thank you for your consideration.
I mean, you are the mayor here. You know everybody at your school.
That's not necessarily true. There's a guy across the way I haven't met yet. 14-point lead Starling, and Syracuse begins the half with another turnover. And then J.J. Starling picks up his 2nd foul, so much the way the first half ended.
Well, Coach Autry's telling Starling to throw the ball over the top, but also you can't be lethargic with your passes. You have to utilize ball fakes, you have to be sharp, and also you can't telegraph where you're going to pass the ball. Starling looking exactly where he wanted to pass the rock.
Todd Knipple and Tyrese Proctor each had 9 in the first half. Knipple set up by James, spins in. Duke's 7th-3 of the night. And the lead is a game-high 17 now for Duke. Can Syracuse hang around, find some baskets here to start the half, keep this thing from getting out of hand? Davis, that'll do it. 6 for Jair Davis. Blue Devils shooting 46% from the field, 7 of 16 from 3, and they've only turned it over once. Malowaj misses the dunk. And Syracuse has numbers, 5 on 4. Taylor calling for it, sets up Starling. Great look, missed from 3. Flag. Again in that screen with Malowaj. Malowaj is fouled on the catch.
Well, Taylor, you're going to see Taylor dig in to help on this drive right here on James, and no need to be that deep on the drive. You got to hedge. You got to get out to a perimeter shooter that's shooting 38% from the 3-point line. You can't allow Con Knipple to catch and shoot wide open. This is what he does. Minus that.
They got lucky there. Foul was Lampkin's 3rd. He stays out there, the Syracuse big man.
There we go.
Off his hands, though. You like the idea there?
Well, drag that screen out. Force that defender to come with you.
Proctor elevates and scores it over the top of the freshman Moore.
Thought he got away with an offensive foul right there. He extended that left arm. It's a good shot, but should have been called.
Second Devil into double figures because of the uncalled foul. 13-0 off turnovers right now for Duke. They've been letting Davis work, and he draws Knipple's 3rd foul.
They're letting Davis work, but the ball isn't moving. It's not rotating the defense. They're going more to an isolated set. And if you're John Shire and if you're Duke defense, you'll take contested fadeaway jump shots by Jair Davis all day long. Somebody should dive right to the basket. Well, he's not protecting the basket. He's parallel to the inbound. Turn face, go baseline.
Want to isolate Davis again. Another fadeaway jump shot. He hits another.
He has great body control. As long as they keep isolating blocks, I mean, he's going to get the shot he wants.
Hometown hero from Delaware, led them to their first NCAA tournament, 2013. Proctor, Malawach, pushed Lampkin, no foul either way.
Like it, they're turning Malawach into a scorer.
How little offense have they run for him throughout the course of the year,
Yeah, but I like the strategy of your archery, right? Force Malawach to be the one to beat you.
Lampkin sets up Davis again.
They keep running it back.
He's got both baskets in the half. That one a brick, and that will be Syracuse ball.
And I don't know why Davis settled for the shot right there. Return the face on Knipple. Keep punishing him, keep driving him, get into that sweet spot within that orange gap in the lane.
Malik Brown replaces Malawach. 3 first-half steals. His career high at Syracuse, by the way, was 5.
Give it to him.
Very stagnant possession here. Taylor hoists a 3. It's not close. Flag will go to work on Davis. And the flip is good for Cooper. Flag within, I think, got knocked down hitting his own teammate Brown.
What a tough shot. I don't think Jair Davis could be any more physical with Cooper Flag than he's been.
Starling airball from point-blank range. Tracked down by Lampkin. Power dribble into Brown. Lampkin in all kinds of trouble. Steal for Flag. Flag. Brown, and he gets absolutely held up. That very well could be a flagrant on Taylor. Ted Valentine and John Gaffney are in to discuss it. Yeah, that's a
one position. We want you to be a player on the court. So Tyrese Proctor, Knipple, Sion James, they all can initiate the offense. But when you need a bucket and you need somebody to get the composure of the offense, no means that is Cooper Flag.
Incredible basketball IQ. That's been apparent since day one. By the way, just a smart kid in general. He had a 4.0 GPA in the fall semester, Cooper Flag.
You saw that this summer at USA Basketball when you had guys like Stephen Curry and Kevin Durant and LeBron James all bloviate about not only his skill, but his ability to make reads. And that's the hardest thing. It's a lot of times for freshmen, the game is going at 8,000 miles per hour, and certain players have that ability for the game to slow down. And even if the game being slowed down at this level, it's still extremely fast at the next level. Cooper was making reads at the next level, at the highest of the next level.
Points created, his quarter system, 31 a game. He might create some more here. Davis fouls Brown. Another terrific find.
Like, once again, just it's one dribble with the left hand. Watch, ball gets rotated. Here comes the screen. One dribble with the left hand. Boom, right in the pocket. I mean, that's a pocket pass. That's precision passing. And when we talk about the complete player, I know a lot of people get angry at me when I say that, but it's the precision of the passing. It's the shooting that's gotten exponentially better. It's the ball handling and making the reads. And it's also the defense. I mean, he could be a primary defender, but he's also incredible coming from the weak side and making those defensive adjustments and getting a lot of tips and deflections.
7th in the ACC in assists, 7th in rebounding, 2nd points, 7th in blocks, 9th in steals.
Again, like I said, the most complete freshman I think that has played Duke in Duke basketball history. I know it's a lot of incredible players. That's Grant Hill. I think Grant had a high upside. I don't know if Grant scored the way that Cooper does right now. I know that Zion was prolific. Marvin Bagley, prolific. I'm not sure that either one of those guys as defensively as good as Cooper Flag and making reads. It's complete. It's all facets of the game.
Jaquan Carlos faded over Proctor. Syracuse running the fadeaway offense here in the second half. All 3 of their buckets turnarounds. The fadeaway offense?
Yeah, just everybody shooting fadeaway shots.
You got to come up with something new against Duke, I guess. Another pocket pass. And Brown brings the Thunder off the drop down from James. Adrian Autry calls his orange over. Potential lottery picks. All right, we just found that news out about the same time as Kevin. What are your thoughts on that Jimmy Butler trade?
I don't know if I like it.
For Golden State?
Yeah, I'm not sure that can JB adjust. I think he can potentially, but their continuity system and how that offense runs around Steph Curry, I know you think it adds another dog defensively along with Draymond Green, but I'm not sure synergistically it works with the style and fluidity of how Golden State plays offense.
James knocked away. Proctor hoists and misses a three. Rebound for Brown. You like the pieces Miami gets back? Andrew Wiggins, a couple other players in a first rounder?
Yeah, I think, well, good pass. I tell you, Malik Brown, John Shire was right about him. Not only is he great defensively, but just has incredible court vision. And the offense works a lot better with him on the court.
Brown impacting the game basically every way in the second half. First game against his old team. First 2 years at Syracuse. Transferred after a lot of his classmates in the first 2 years either transferred or left school.
Okay, but just to close the loop on the whole Jimmy Butler thing, I know he didn't want to be there in Miami anymore. Thought he went about it the wrong way. But there's always been some type of challenge with Jimmy. And you could deal with that challenge when he's in the prime of his career. But dealing with that challenge when you're 35 years old, a different stage that I'm not sure is worth the investment.
Sion James with a three-point opportunity for Duke. Took the hard foul from Bell, and a chance for one more for the Tulane transfer as Duke is starting to pull away.
He's just built like an 18-wheeler, man. I mean, he does a good job fighting over the top, and I mean, just once he buries his shoulder into you, there's nothing you can do. He's going to bounce you off and then gain his balance in the process. And look at that, that's a tough left-handed finish. There are a lot of NBA scouts that like Sion James. They want his shot to continue to improve. It's something that he will continue to work on, but defensively, he is a hawk, and offensively, he just knows how to play. He's always in the right position on the court.
Averaging 8, 4, 3, and a steal a game, 37% from three.
We were talking about, like there's nothing about this Duke team that just like jumps off the page, right? But like they're very methodical in their approach. They beat you in the details and in the margins.
Yeah, they're an incredibly fun team to watch, despite not always flying up and down the court. Like, fundamentals can be really fun. I know this sounds like, you know, full-on dad mode here, but
well, you are a dad.
I am a dad now, yes. So maybe that's why.
Welcome.
It's fun to watch them get in the stands. It's fun to watch them switch, and you feel like you're playing 5-on-8 against them when they're at their defensive best. They are just furious.
They're playing the game Syracuse wants them to play, and they have a 22-point lead.
Off the misstep back by Starling. James from Foster. Isaiah Evans short, and there's Brown again. Tips it to Flag. Vision to see James, and Duke will reset with Foster. Foster, Flag, Brown, James, fake, drop, Brown, layup.
It is looking like a clinic.
Good grief.
I mean, how many extra passes can you make?
Everybody should get like a quarter of an assist for that play on the floor for Duke. Davis again. He's been the offense in this half. And boy, he can hit a turnaround, Jair Davis.
This is just not a reflection on Syracuse. I mean, Duke has been dismantling a multitude of opponents. We had the chance to call North Carolina versus Pitt, which is a really close and tight game. And Duke was just able to pick them apart.
Caleb Foster just finished. That may be the loudest the Duke bench has been all night. They know how important it would be to get him going again.
He just adds so much more depth if he can find his offensive rhythm.
This is the kind of thing Adrian Autry told us he was worried about. You can hang with Duke for a while, but there's going to be that 3-minute stretch where they can just bury anybody. And this has been a lot longer than 3 minutes right now. Davis again. Feeds Starling. Who finally hits a three. J.J. Starling's first points in about 23 minutes of game time. Instructions for John Shire for Foster and Flag. Foster, good hands by Carlos. And a Syracuse point guard will step through, and McLeod follows the miss.
Carlos is really good at getting low to the ground and pushing up into your pocket He can't afford to be lazy with that ball and play with it in front of him.
All defensive team in the CAA and Hofstra a year ago. Actually played well against Duke for Hofstra last year. 10 and 9 assists.
That's going to be a shot.
Flag inside McLeod. A high flying flag. The kid that drove 8 hours from Canada is going to feel like he's flying on the 8 hours back home now. Flag with a blocked shot. That's just a smart foul by Bell, because who knows what would have happened had he not stopped that out. I know we talk about Cooper Flagg a lot, and maybe if you don't like Duke, it's Proctor, it's a theory, you're sick of it. Here's the thing, he is worth it. Every game he does this kind of stuff. He's 18 years old. You know, the hype built and built and built over the past year or so before Cooper Flagg came to Duke. He's exceeded that almost immeasurable hype in a way that not many freshmen do. Hakeem McLeod gets a bit of revenge, and a season high 8 for him.
Yeah, but you look at that stat line, KB, it's 11, 5, and 1, and you're like, oh, there's nothing impressive about that stat line. But if you watch the game, the passes, the shots, the rebounds, the moves have been all very pro-like. Not a lot of wasted movement with Cooper Flagg.
Cuff step back three. McLeod. Tough rebound.
That was the biggest yell for somebody that didn't get off the ground.
Yes, it was. Now when you're 7'4", to get off the ground. Cuff misses another three. And this time it'll be Gungba entangled with Majstorovic. It's Duke ball on the arrow.
Well, I only joke with McLeod, but you love the fight that he's bringing to the table. He's sprinting the floor, he's getting rebounds, had the strong finish, and got the offensive rebound.
And look, frankly, Syracuse at times, they've needed fight. Not just tonight, fought for a while tonight. They've needed fight this year. In and out in terms of the different rotations. They've had 8 starting lineups. They're still without Donnie Freeman, great freshman. They're not sure if they're going to get him back. He hasn't played in a month with a lower leg injury. And you see the boot on the right foot of Donnie Freeman right there. Red Autry told us they should know pretty soon whether or not Donnie Freeman is going to have a chance to come back or be shut down. Evans. Boy, that is a quick release. Isaiah Evans, another Duke 3, their 9th.
You know, you're hearing a lot of these coaches talk about hiring a general manager since we're getting a capologist, and you got to raise capital. You see Chris Bell knock down the 3. Rachel Baker is in the house for Duke. John Shire, one of the first coaches to bring on a general manager. She came from Nike. Baylor's really good at it as well, and that's going to be the challenge for a lot of schools in all conferences, raising capital to get the top-tier players in a school. Look at the typical age of players in the SEC. They're around 22. Game within a game. Yeah. Seth Greenberg, I love it.
Game within a big game. Arkansas trying to get back to the bubble. They won at Kentucky, obviously Saturday. Win at Texas. It'll be another quad 1 win tonight.
How about Coach Audrey, coach with Seth Greenberg?
Yes.
And had a lot of funny stories for me to share with Seth Greenberg back in studio, but not for the public to know.
That's right, not for air. Hey, Duke, undefeated in the league. They're going to be 12-0 if they win this game. According to Ken Pomeroy, here's the percentage chance to win their remaining games. Saturday at Clemson is their toughest one statistically. Then they play Illinois, which I love. And John Shire said, I wasn't sure if I'd love it, but he said, I love it now that we're going to get a non-conference test, step out of the league, a different kind of style that'll prepare us for the tournament. That game's at the Garden February 22nd. So add it all up, it's a 43% chance.
Oh, you mean Cameron Indoor Stadium North?
That's right.
Yeah, that's what you call Madison Square Garden.
What toughest game on that schedule for you? What do you think?
Probably, I would probably say Illinois, just because of their versatility offensively. But I also think the game at Clemson is going to be a tough game. I mean, you saw NC State give Duke a really hard fight at Cameron Indoor. And I think Clemson's going to be playing for something, especially at home.
Well, next Wednesday, Duke's going to be on the ACC network hosting Cal. Andrei Stojakovic, great scorer for the Golden Bears. Stanford, which is hovering around the bubble but really needs to rack up wins, goes to Georgia Tech. Starting the doubleheader at 7 Eastern. Georgia Tech has made a lot of noise in the past week. They've knocked off both Clemson and Louisville, second and third place teams in the league.
That was right after I said I thought Louisville would go undefeated for the month of February. Yeah.
I did hear that, but you didn't have to call yourself out like that. Blow up your own spot. I appreciate your honesty, though.
It happens every day.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be the first, nor will be the last.
True. Well, they'll go undefeated maybe after that game, you know?
Just whenever the timing of the comment.
Yeah. Hey, if folks haven't watched Louisville play, that is a really fun team and an amazing story. Disastrous last couple of years, won 12 games, and Pat Kelsey and a whole new roster rejuvenated them. They'll be in the tournament. Probably has a pretty good seed.
You got to think that Pat Kelsey has to be top 3 for National Coach of the Year.
Bell misses. Majstorovic. Malowicz draped on him. Bell is all alone, and he hits a 3. Chris Bell's knocked down 3 threes tonight.
You know, we get box scores that get sent our way every break. I am blown away, absolutely blown away, that Syracuse has not made a free throw this entire game. And they've only attempted 1 free throw thus far.
Well, how about that? It's been at least 25 seasons since Syracuse has not made a free throw in a game, at least 25.
And it's not like they haven't been aggressive in attacking the paint. A lot of their shots have been ISO shots, kind of extending from the block, but it just speaks to the brilliance of Duke's defense.
1-on-1 miss by Brown, who has been as brilliant as anybody. Amazing game for Malik Brown.
People don't understand how hard it is to play elite defense without fouling. It takes a certain mental discipline, especially to sustain that discipline throughout the course of a game.
Ball knocked away. There's another steal for Brown. Who else? Foster. Tough finish for Caleb Foster over the top of Cuff. Couple of baskets for Foster off the bench. Majstorovic passes up the 3. Cuff will take it. In and out. Tipped by McLeod, and a foul. Going to go against Duke and Malik Brown. Malik Brown, 6 points, 8 rebounds, an assist, and 3 steals in 21 minutes. Great piece in the Daily Orange, the Syracuse student newspaper this week, talking about Malik Brown. His parents said that Duke was one of his dream schools, but he was a very lightly recruited kid. Syracuse got him, and they felt like they had a steal. And he was a terrific player here for 2 years. But a lot of players left the portal the last couple of years. Malik Brown leaves, gets to Duke. As Proctor is fouled, he'll shoot 2. Don't forget, coming up next, Arkansas and Texas. Big week it could be for the Razorbacks. And the knockdown, drag-out SEC. ESPN2 right after this game and on the ESPN app. And if we are not done by 9, which we'll see, give you an update on where that game starts.
You know, one of the things John Shire talked about, I was listening to an interview of him on my flight over here, about how coachable everybody on his roster is. And in today's day and age of the transfer portal with NIL, I don't think people at home understand how much of a rarity that is. To have everybody on your roster pulling in the same direction. It's damn near impossible in today's game because somebody is unhappy with their playing time. Somebody's agent is trying to renegotiate their deal. They're unhappy about the amount of money they're getting or the way they're going to be positioned. And everybody in this roster for Duke seems that winning is above everything. And they're competing for something different. Now, Auburn could be the same. There could be a couple other teams on the same. It's just you don't see this every single day in today's climate.
2 longest win streaks in the nation, Duke and Auburn. really good St. Mary's teams in there too. Brown just blocked that shot. John Shire told us something today that fits in that exact vein of what you're saying. I thought this was interesting. He said, this is the least social media interested group we've had. And maybe people are going to laugh when they hear that, but that is a real thing.
Well, coming off last year with Jared McCain, right? He was obviously, he's hurt, but playing for the 76ers was incredible. I mean, he was a social media sensation and star. But like, it seems like there's all these dudes care about is hoop.
And that's not to say you can't have
You can be
fun on
both. You can be
Instagram,
both, yeah.
but he said this group, they just don't care about it. And he said it helps because Cooper Flagg doesn't care about any of that stuff. And when your lead guy doesn't care, it sets the tone for the rest of the roster. Malawacz with the alley-oop dunk on the last one from Evans. 4 assists for Isaiah Evans tonight. And a 27-point lead for Duke. Foster's third foul. Syracuse will be in the bonus on the next end. That might be the end from Malik Brown, who gets a nice hand from John Shire and the Duke fans.
One last thing, Kevin, on John Shire that I have to give him credit for. It's not every day that you get a chance to fill in the shoes of potentially the greatest coach of all time. John has done that seamlessly. He's been classy. He's had the top recruiting class for multiple years. We'll have it again next year with Cameron and Caden Boozer. And he has a unique coaching ability that is relatable and keeps guys, oh my goodness.
That is something that's not relatable to about 99.99% of the human population. ACC, John Shire and Duke, my goodness, up 31, 7 dunks in the game, and so much ridiculous ball movement.
You just tell me what you don't like about the next series of plays you're going to see. A little drive, kick, short corner. Oh, Malik Brown with the dime. Oh, a pass, extra pass, head fake, get into the gap again. Another extra pass. Oh, reverse leg. And then a little head fake and a little show. I mean, Seth Greenberg in studio talking about a grown blanket man. We got a lot of grown blanket men on this court.
Add it all up, it's Duke by 31. They led by 14 at the half, plus 17 in the second.
Oh my God, Greenberg in studio getting really edgy. He's getting edgy on it. I'm liking it. I'm wearing off on it.
What's your favorite kind of Seth? Edgy Coach Greenberg?
I call him Notorious B.E.R.G.
It's pretty good. Yeah. That was worthy of a snicker at least.
Yeah.
J.J. Starling, last bucket. He got 12. Starling and Davis, the co-Syracuse leaders, with a dozen. There's another Duke dunk. It's Gungba. 8 Duke dunks.
I mean, the scary thing is, like, this is the end of Duke's bench, essentially, in the game, with the exception of Malawacz.
Before a free throw, really, we're going to have a promo for you tomorrow night. Love the great non-conference games you get late in the year in women's basketball. UConn, Tennessee always delivers. 6:30 Eastern on ESPN, followed by Stanford and third-ranked Notre Dame. Irish have won 14 in a row. That's tomorrow on ESPN. So here you go. Syracuse 0 for 1 at the line. Naheem McLeod hits the first Orange free throw of the game. His first made free throw of the year. Just another tough night. We can go
just watching you transition from excitement for the first made free throw of the game to a visual of Coach Autry.
Well,
it's
been that kind of night. So seriously, we talked about the Duke part of this, and we can keep. But the other side, where does Syracuse go from here?
I mean, you have to continue to compete. Are you talking about short term, long term?
Yes.
Which one?
I mean, they played well Saturday. Obviously, that was a Cal. Duke is far and away the best team in this league, but 20-12 a year ago. They're 10-12 this season.
The thing about Syracuse is had so many one-possession losses that, you know, it takes winning, experienced players to close out those games. We had 2 of those games between, you know, Texas Tech, Texas. Yep. And they had legit shots in both those games. So, you know, I think this is just another learning experience. And also, I think that the talent level needs to be elevated. for Syracuse. And I think Syracuse fans recognize that. I think the coaching staff recognizes that. The collective for Syracuse basketball also needs to recognize that, because you're not going to get top-tier talent without having top-tier capital.
That is as crazy as it would sound a few years ago. That's the reality of basketball right now.
By the way, that was the reality a few years ago.
Sure,
that's been a reality 20 years ago. And don't get the
maybe
don't get
not
conflated.
with the word collective, but yes. In the same sense. Duke took a timeout to get some substitutes in. Spencer Hubbard, walk-on guard, is in there. Majstorovic floats and finishes. Neil Begovic, graduate student from Stanford, in the game, along with Harris, Foster, and Gungba. Darren Harris, a five-star freshman who barely plays. That's how deep Duke is. He turns it over. It's just the 5th Duke turnover of the game. The season low was 4 against Auburn. They've turned it over a couple of times down the stretch.
Talk about Darren Harris, 6'6" freshman, Virginia Gatorade Player of the Year, Virginia number 31 overall recruit per ESPN Top 100. We'll talk about the depth of talent John Shire has on this roster. Harris still trying to find ways to crack into that rotation. That's how deep this Duke team is. Can you imagine that? The number 31 overall recruit in the ESPN Top 100 is trying to crack into the rotation.
I mean, basically any other roster on the country is playing. Maybe Auburn is tough. Auburn, Duke is not much else.
And
he's in the rotation.
Maybe starting.
Yep. Not sure what's happening here. The call from John Gaffney was Cuff stepped out of bounds with the ball. He and Lee Cassell are conferring about that. Duke's next game Saturday at Clemson. Be 1-2 in the ACC, it looks like. By the way, Dave O'Brien, Corey Alexander, and the long-awaited return, Dick Vitale will be on the call Saturday.
Oh,
we cannot wait.
Oh, baby, he's an old Rose Roser. I want to say that I am so happy to have Dick Vitale back in this game. Obviously, he's been fighting cancer, had a fall. I saw his daughter and her husband at Duke, North Carolina. Dickie V, I love you. You are a monument that we have in this game. You are a staple of this game. College basketball misses you. We are so excited to have you back.
Well said. Well said. Saturday night, going to be an amazing game and an emotional game for all of us that have watched college basketball on TV in our lives and don't know what it's like to watch college basketball without Dick Vitale on the sideline with a headset on.
I mean, my first game in college was against Stanford at the Garden. And I'll never forget seeing him on the sideline.
That's awesome.
And literally interrupting him during his broadcast, telling him how excited I was to meet him. He's like, go focus on the game. We love you, Dick.
83-54 is the score. Darren Harris has added a couple of baskets off the bench for Duke, which is shooting 57%, 69% in the second half. And if you're looking for steps forward for Duke, they crushed Carolina Saturday, but they took their foot off the gas in the second half. They did not take their foot off the gas in this second half. There was no letdown. The game after the UNC game, sometimes it's emotional letdown. Anything but for Duke, which wins by 29 here in the Dome.
That's why people are picking this team to win a national title. Human nature is to take your foot off the gas, but that's another team. That's not this Duke team. They are special, and they have a chance to be great.
Longest season.